Hello, Election SOS folks. I am Kevin McDonald, executive producer at New Mexico PBS here in lovely Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I am here today to talk about how much I love the Citizens Agenda and wanted to give my talk today a working title that those in my Election SOS cohort, Engaged Elections, and the Harkin team will appreciate and recognize. It's the most earth-shattering approach to our election coverage in a lot of years. I'll get into a little bit why that is here as we move forward. But for our election plans this past year, what we did was partner on our U.S. Senate debate with two community organizations, the New Mexico Black Voters Collaborative and New Mexico Native Vote. We thought these groups were really important. We are obviously a minority-majority state here, but we really wanted to talk about who are those communities that are still underserved in all coverage, really, not to mention election coverage. And we felt like the African American community, the Native American community was a great way to go. So that's where we partnered with. My frustration over the last several election cycles has been how much of a pain in the butt it is to just get elections and debates scheduled, because the candidates want to play games. They want to pick and choose media that they want to use. And so I thought this was also selfishly a strategy to get them to step up and do the debates that I know a lot of you like me feel like they should do, as many as possible. It's part of what seeking elected office means. And we reached out, and of course COVID made all of this harder. Timing also made it harder because we did the Engaged Elections class in late fall, and so there wasn't a lot of time, but it was still a great process. A lot more success with the New Mexico Black Voters Collaborative than we had with New Mexico Native Vote, but we've got strategies in place. We can talk about that and break out for getting to the more of those folks in future elections. But before I talk any more about it, I just want to give you a taste of what those participants thought about it. We pulled them into a Facebook Live session after the Senate debate aired to see what they thought about the process. Here's what a few of them had to say.
What I was looking forward to was, actual questions, not necessarily things that are going to grab headlines, but that are going to educate the voters, help them make a better decision on, the people that they're voting for and looking to elect.
I appreciate that we're asked for input. I don't remember that being a thing that's ever, that's really been common before.
I think partnership like PBS is awesome because you guys actually made it happen to put it in front of the candidates. They didn't take the opportunity, but you guys put it out there for them to address the minorities and people who are not heard.
I'm hoping that this encourages young voters and people who may have never voted to get back into the driver's seat of our country, of our politics, our city and state.
So one of the things that I think is just brilliant about the Citizens Agenda is the fact that even if you don't have great participation, we didn't have what we'd hoped for, but it was still more input than we would have had otherwise if we did what we usually do, which is just put our heads together and come up with issues and questions. And so we really saw that, and I think the comments you just heard really speak to that, folks being heard, and it really rounded out our coverage, gave us coverage that had context, that had meaning, and so it's something that made us stand out from the crowd. And it's also something that, because the Citizens Agenda is a living, breathing document, is going to evolve with us in future election cycles. We're committed to this and we'll continue to do this moving forward, and we'll learn and we'll get better at it. But it's just such a great way to connect with our community, to improve the quality of the election coverage we provide, and really add that layer of accountability, not only for us, but for the candidates. You heard some of that talked about. Our big goal moving forward is to do a better job to make sure that even though we come prepared with their questions, that these groups are talked to directly by the candidates. And so there was an idea brought out that we should make sure we have, in the non-COVID world, an audience of folks from these community partners so that the candidates are forced to answer directly to them. But it's a strategy we will take and look at innovative ways to do that on our end too. But again, the earth-shattering approach here is something that just has turned me around from being just frustrated by the prospect of having to put together a debate to really feeling like we got somewhere that was important and impactful, and we will be doing it for years to come here as long as I have a say in it.